Coming up on the program, we're going to plant some cabbage and kale and do it a very easy way. All right, reset. And we'll plant some leeks. All that and more coming up today on the Wisconsin Vegetable Garden. Sponsored by migardener.com, with over 450 varieties of non-GMO, heirloom, organic flowers, vegetables, and herb seeds, all for 99 cents. migardener.com. Welcome to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener. I'm Joey Baird. We're in the backside of the large garden today, and we're going to plant some cabbage and kale using a unique tool that's going to make this a very, very quick job. This is a Pro Plugger. It's a 5-in-1 planting tool. You step on it, you twist it, the soil gets stored up in the tube, and then you empty it, and it's good for weeding, for planting bulbs. A lot of great uses. They are a sponsor of our radio show in Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Southeast Michigan, and Banning, California. And this is a really unique tool because it's got a couple of different discs here that you can set your different digging depths from 4, 6 inches to 4 or 6 inches if you just leave it alone. I'm doing the 6 inches here because I want to have a good deep hole, and I'll explain that in a minute. So we'll demonstrate that and use that. Also using Dr. Earth 463 fertilizer, the vegetable and herb, tomato, vegetable and herb fertilizer. Now I'm not putting it in the hole at planting. What I am doing is I've got compost from the compost pile, and based on the volume I have here, I've placed the correct amount of fertilizer and I've mixed it in because I'm going to backfill the hole with this compost rather than the material that I get out of the hole. And for one very simple reason. We're dealing with very wet soil. The temperatures have broke, so I can get this stuff in the ground. I do not have time for it to dry out, so I'm basically mudding it in. And by doing this layered method, by mulching the garden bed here 3 foot wide by 10 foot long with cardboard, and then bringing weeds, roots, and stuff that I actually physically dug out of other beds, such as this bed here that I'm working on, removing the roots and the top growth, bringing it over here and laying it on top as a layering lasagna type of method, it's going to work just fine. Now I'll be able to get quite a few in here, maybe 10, and I've got one hole here already. I'll show how we plant, and then I'll show how the Pro Plugger works. So I'm just going to go with, we got these planted in the root maker trays. I'm going to go with some scarlet kale here. So I'm going to squeeze that. The soil is very, very moist. I didn't let it dry out at all. There we go. Very nice root system. The advantage with the root maker trays, it creates more vigorous roots instead of the wraparound that you traditionally get. So first I'm going to backfill to where we're at soil level as it came out of the container, which is right there, and then I'm going to just top dress it a little bit more. And I'll take some of the weeds here that's been laying on top of this cardboard for a number of days that is beginning to dry out and die, and I'm just going to gently tuck it around as a mulch. That's how easy it is to plant that kale. Now, I'll show you how the Pro Plugger works. All right, so we've got the kale, and that's how easy to plant. Now let me show you how easy it is to use the Pro Plugger. Left the labels on so you can see it. Planting tool, planting bulbs, annuals, vegetables, ground cover, lawn plugs, and it's also good for weeding as well. So we got our kale here. I'm going to come over here about 14 inches, and I'm just going to push it right through the cardboard and wiggle it back and forth to break the plug off, and it comes right out. And if I could just leave them all in, but I want to pull this plug out to show you. Nice plug there, doesn't get jammed up in the Pro Plugger, and this is very, very moist soil. I mean, there's a lot of moisture in this soil. So I'm going to plant a late flat Dutch cabbage here. Get that one there. Squeeze the bottom. I'm not going to label these because I know what they are. Here's a very good example of what the root maker tray does. Creates, air prunes the roots for a very nice root system. And you don't get the wraparound that the traditional slick-sided containers would give you. Okay, so remember I dug this 6 inches deep, and I'm going to backfill with about 3.5 inches of soil, of compost there. Put that in there, and then backfill, tuck it around, push it down nice and tight, and maneuver some mulch around here, and that's it. We're done. That's how easy it is. The Pro Plugger makes a lot easier. Hole, I don't have to dig, shovel, and I just boom, 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 and we got the holes dug. So that's how easy it is to plant kale, cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower. That's all fall in that same category. And with the Pro Plugger, makes it easy. With root maker trays, makes a good established root, and a healthier plant, or a plant with a good root system has a more healthier plant, and using Dr. Earth ties it all together. We're going to plant some ruby red long day onions, and based on where you're at in the country, you need to figure out what category of onions is best for you. For a reference, short day in the south, neutral or midday in the central portion of the United States, and long day in the northern parts of the United States, because of the day length that the onions get during the growing season. If you try to plant one and the other, you're just going to get green tops and very little bulb development. So I've got 3 rows here, 7 inches apart, 3.5, 4 foot long here. And we started these in the Root Maker 1 gallon grow bags indoors about the 3rd week in January. You can see they're very nice and thick looking. And the best way we have found is you just take, loosen the bag up, dig your hand down in there, and you just pull up. And you can see good roots all the way through there. Now, how to plant onions? It's very, very simple. We want to space these about 3 inches apart, because that's where we want whenever they're fully mature. And I'll start here so it's easier for you to see. Lay it there. This is very loose soil. Push it in about 1/4 inch and let it be. Take the roots, tuck it in, push it about 1/4 inch down, let it be. Now I've got dry chemical-free grass clippings here, and I'm just going to plant all of these just like that. And because it's loose soil, now I've already prepped this soil with Dr. Earth tomato, vegetable, and herb fertilizer based on the quantity of space I have here and the recommended rates on the back of the package. So I'm going to plant them and let them mature, and come late summer we'll be harvesting nice ruby red onions. Now if you have difficulty growing onions in the ground like this, either one, you need to loosen the soil up, and we do that manually with a garden fork, removing the roots, aerating the soil, or you might want to move to a raised bed, giant grow bag, or container to get successful onions. When it comes to planting leeks, leeks are one of the easiest crops to grow, and we want to get them in the ground early. You can start them from seed, as we have in January here in Zone 5A, or you can get them from your local garden center. You can grow leeks virtually any time of year. There's no requirements of daylight sensitivity to them. Now what we have here is a bed that's 3 foot wide by about 10 foot long, and I've planted several rows of leeks here, and we're going to plant the rest of the bed. We're planting American flag leeks. Now we started them from seed, so they're not as thick as you might find at your garden center. I've pulled them out of the root maker tray that we started them in, and what we're going to do is we want to make a divot in the ground. We're wanting to bury the seedling about 3/4 of the way up the plant. So this is the plant. We want to bury it we want to plant it about 1/2 to 3/4 of the way up. Now how we do that is, many different devices work. I use the handle of a rake. So we're going to go, there's my first row. So all we're going to do is push it in the ground, make a little hole there. I space these about 6 inches apart, 6 inches to 6 inches. And soil falls in the hole, that's what you redo it then. So now what we want to do is we want to take the leek and we want to put it in the we want to take the leek and we want to put it in the ground, and if the roots are long we want to wrap it and we want to push it in the ground like that. Now you want your hole to be about 3/4 of the length of your seedlings. The reason for this, it allows the blanching or the whiteness to occur on the bottom portion of the leek. That here in North America is traditionally what is taught to be the edible portion. The whole leek is edible, and many countries around the world utilize the whole leek as a dish. So at this point, we do not want to backfill manually. What we'll do is come in here with a watering can and water, or a watering wand, and a certain amount of dirt will start falling on the roots. And that's all you have to do. It's that simple to plant leeks. We'll go ahead and do the rest of these. Now you can mulch them if you choose to. We're going to leave these established and not mulched for a couple of days or a couple of weeks until we get some establishment on them. Then we'll come in with some mulch of dry grass clippings, chemical-free grass clippings, and mulch. But leeks, we've got them to grow as big as a broom handle before. If you have problems growing onions, grow leeks. Virtually the same type of plant, but you don't have to worry about short, neutral day, or long day varieties, and they'll grow any part of the country. Take about 130 days to reach maturity, and if you don't harvest them all, you can let them sit in the garden over winter and harvest them in the spring. They will go to seed the second year, so if you're going to harvest them the next spring, you want to harvest them as soon as you can pull them out of the ground and before they start putting vertical growth on. Thanks for watching. Join me again next time for more organic gardening. I'm Joy Baird, and this has been the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener.
For more information, please visit thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com.